and welcome to Yasmal in Abu Dhabi for the grand finals of the V10 R League. Over the next 2 days, 4 teams are going to fight it out to be crowned the 2022 World Champions and claim their share of a £100,000 prize pool. It's a spectacular setting here in Yas Island, and we're going to be kicking things off in spectacular fashion as Team Redline take on R8G Esports. And we are going racing. And there's contact! Goes the door, there's contact again! Victory for the Redline team. The lights are on, the engine's revving. And it is going to be Dajovsky who takes victory. Back and forth between the two of them. R8G are on their way to the finals in Abu Dhabi. Hello and welcome to the Yas Mall for the grand finals of the V10 R League. I'm your host for today, Hayden Gullis, and I'm joined by the incredibly talented George Morgan and Steph Wentworth. We're here in Abu Dhabi. Steph, how have you enjoyed the experience so far?
Oh, it's exciting, and it's even more exciting to be here with you two. It's going to be a fabulous evening with some spectacular racing, to use your own words. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
And George, you're going to be the lead commentator for today. You're dressed like a lumberjack. Will you be cutting into some action today?
I certainly will be, Hayden. It's a pleasure to be here, Yas Marina, of course, and we've seen so many great moments of racing action in the past. We're going to be here celebrating a return, a visit here for V10 R League as well, and it couldn't get bigger than this.
You may be wondering where one of our member of team is missing, because unfortunately Tom Deacon could not be joined with us. He unfortunately got COVID before his flight, but he is feeling very well, and he sent us this little message.
Hey guys, it's me, Tom Deacon, the regular Season 3 host of the V10 R League. I will not be at the semi-final or final in Abu Dhabi at the brilliant Yas Mall. And the reason is, check this out, I managed to catch COVID for the first time ever 3 days before flying out. I know, right? Proper schoolboy error. Mortified is a word I would use for how I felt. I cried. I was gutted, truly. However, I do know this, that the semi-final and final is going to be amazing, and may the best team win. And you know what? Hayden, George, Steph, they're going to be taking you through every step of the way, and I know they're going to do such a brilliant job. So is the whole team, in fact. But sad I can't be there. I know it's going to be amazing. I'm just going to hang out with my dog. That's what I'm going to do. Enjoy it. See you soon.
Sad that unfortunately Tom Deacon cannot be with us, but I'm sure we're going to be doing him proud here today. And I'm sure he's watching at home, tuning in, because he's been such a fan of this series so far. You know, he's really got stuck in, brings the life and soul to the party of us here on the casting booth. But now we're going to be looking into the fixtures for today and tomorrow as well, because it's a double header. We've got a semi-final and then a final. So this is what is coming up today. We've got Team Redline taking on R8G Esports. That is the match that you are currently watching. Then later on today at 7 p.m, we've got Yashi taking on Mercedes AMG Petronas Esports. Steph, which out of those two catches your eye?
Oh, you just can't pick. I mean, it's 4 fantastic teams that have battled the other 6 and fought their way to be here in Abu Dhabi, so you can't pick. They're both going to be some fantastic matches. We've got incredibly talented drivers on all the rosters, so I'm very excited. But let's focus on this one because it's happening right now. Redline v R8G.
And of course, we've got 4 teams trying to get into the final. Let's talk about R8G, because they started off slow, a loss to Yashi in their first match, but they've really picked it up as the series has gone on. And then they went on to win their wild card match against Aston Martin. And what a race it was, George.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, R8G have certainly grown into the event. Started off a little bit sloppily to a degree, but managed to get themselves back on top, winning some really, really good races. The team certainly have risen to the occasion. Tonight's going to be a different test for him.
And Steph, are there any drivers out of that roster that catches your eye?
Oh, well, R8G have Marcel Chinchik, which is he's kind of been the spearhead of the team, the leader, taking them all forward. But all 3 of them are fantastically talented, so it's going to be very exciting to see how well they work together in the team race particularly.
And of course, they won the team race with Chinchik in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit last month when they took on Aston Martin. Now moving over to the team that they're going to be going up against, Team Redline. Of course, they topped their group coming here. They didn't have to do the wild card. They already secured their place. George, are they going to be the team to beat?
Well, they certainly have the tenacity, the skill level. Kevin Siggy has been absolutely superb. I mean, racking together 6 wins this season has been absolutely out of this world. Not only that, they've got the backing of one Max Verstappen as well. So I'm sure he's watching on from home just to see how his team gets on. They've got the quality. Let's see how they get on.
They really have got the quality, of course. One of the big matches from their group was up against Mercedes. Now, the unique thing about this series is the picks and bans. This is where teams get to choose a track that they might not want to go to, so they can ban it. So the other team can't choose it, but they get to also choose one track that they would like to go to. So let's have a look at the picks and bans that Team Redline and R8G. So Team Redline don't want to go to Monza, but they want to go to Spa, whereas R8G, very fitting, have chose the Yas Marina circuit, but they do not want to go to Silverstone. Steph, you know, Redline going to Spa-Francorchamps, is that a surprise?
Oh, not a surprise at all. Spa has been a very, very popular choice among the drivers, among the teams throughout the entire series. Very excited to go back there. We've seen some brilliant action over the course of the season thus far. The longest track, though, just over 7 kilometers long. So there's a lot of room for action to be had.
And we're also going to Yas Marina, which is just literally over there. You go past the theme park and you're in the Yas Marina circuit. A very exciting track. Are we going to see some good action on there today?
Definitely. Obviously, they made some amendments to this circuit not too long ago. We've got the progressive hairpin bend that you tend to take before the long straight. There's 2 major straights here, plenty of overtaking zones. Sector 3, that's where things get technical, but we want to test these guys. Come on, let's test them.
And of course, they banned Monza and Silverstone, 2 iconic circuits. Are you disappointed not to see either of those 2 today?
Oh, I'm disappointed, but who knows? We've got another match coming up a little bit later, and we've got matches coming up tomorrow, so I'm sure they'll make an appearance.
Well, there you go. That is the picks and bans, the tracks that we are going to be heading to in today's show. But let's meet the teams who are going to be taking them on. First up, it's R8G.
And let's give a very, very warm welcome to R8G, to the team. Come on down here. Erhan Jajowski, welcome to Abu Dhabi. How are you finding it so far?
Yeah, it's a great experience. I'm happy to be back to the offline events.
Fantastic. Yuri Toman, it's the first time you guys are competing together. Do you think that's gonna set you at a disadvantage, or do you think your team rapport can withstand it?
No, I think we're all used to driving with each other, so it shouldn't be any different to being at home. So, yeah, let's see what the races bring. Fantastic.
And finally, Marcel, you have picked Yas Marina. Was that a competitive choice? You did really well against Aston Martin then the last round, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a competitive choice at home, but not really here. But we try our best.
All right, well, best of luck to all 3 of you. Why don't you go ahead and get set up on your rig, and we will catch you guys in a little bit. Before we say hello to our next team, which is going to be taking on R8G, Team Redline. And let's give them a very, very warm welcome. We've got the team that topped their group stage, Enzo Benito. How do you feel to be here in Abu Dhabi? I mean, it's been a long journey for you to get here, but I'm sure you're happy to be here.
Absolutely, super happy. It's an amazing country. I enjoyed everything so far. Food, the hotel was amazing. A great experience by Gfinity at the Yas Marina circuit. And now we are here fighting against the other teams and trying to get our job done as best as possible.
Absolutely. And Kevin Siggy, you've been a fantastic driver. I think George mentioned you've racked up 6 wins thus far this season. Are you going for another win, or is it time to play the team game?
It was always time to play the team game. I mean, I've been quite decent in quali online, but this time I've been lacking a little bit, so I'll be helping Enzo a lot and to make sure that we win every single race.
Fantastic. And Spa is the one you have picked. Is that your best track, Jeffrey?
I think we're good everywhere. We just banned Monza because we weren't really bothered to practice it, to be honest. So I think Spa is one of our best tracks.
All right, fantastic. Well, best of luck. You guys get set up in the sim, and I'm going to throw it back to Hayden.
Thank you very much, Steph. As the drivers get ready, we're going to take a quick break, and then the first race will be coming your way when we return. Welcome back to the V10 R League, the grand finals. As you can see behind us, the drivers are in position. Also in position are my casting teams, George Morgan and Steph Wentworth. First up, we are going to be heading to Spa for the relay race. And if you are new to the V10 R League series, the relay race format is where all three drivers will at least do one lap. They come back into the pits and then do another lap. And one driver from each team will be chosen to do the joke lap, meaning they have to do 2 laps. And the winner is the first team to cross the line. We're heading over to Spa. George, what are the challenges around this circuit?
There are plenty of challenges, certainly. The first sector dominated by the Kemmel Straight. Obviously, lots of overtaking opportunities to be had at that point in the track. The middle sector, slightly more technical. You've got sloping downhill, Pouon corner, and then heading into the middle sector, Stavolo as well. Then you've got the nice, very nice straight at Blanchimont, the nice little kink in the left-hander, leading down through towards bus stop. Heaviest braking point on the circuit. It's going to be a true test.
Now, the relay race is usually all about who's going to be taking the Joker lap. Can you give me any predictions, Steph, of who might be doing that?
Well, unfortunately, I've not been in the team briefing, so I don't have any idea. But we do have some really, really strong drivers. Cinčić has often taken the Joker lap for R8G. Siggy is very, very quick, but Jeffrey Rietveld has also done several Joker laps over the season. So, in all honesty, no one can predict it, and I think that's what is going to, be a question for each of the other teams. Who's it going to be?
There's a lot of tactics involved as well. If one driver takes the Joker lap, would you want to switch up your tactics, maybe not do it at the same time, or do you just stick to the plan?
I suppose it's just up to the drivers, really, what they feel is mentally the right way to go, or in terms of their own strengths. Naturally, I'd imagine they might want to mix things up from what they've done in a group environment. Obviously, the group stage is vastly different to the knockout sector. Obviously, now we're in the semi-finals. You might want to put what you believe to be your strongest hand out on track. Let them do the Joker lap. Let them do that additional lap. But we'll have to wait and see. They could very easily mix things up.
I have to apologise for some swearing that you might have heard from Kevin Siggy. We are, of course, live with the drivers just back there, and they're really into it. So they may slip out. So if any of that does happen, I am really sorry. But obviously, this is a new environment for a lot of them, especially the R8G team, because this is the first time they've all met, and they're also in a LAN event. Like we can see now, Jajowski looking calm, looking collected. Is it going to stay throughout the rest of this, Steph?
Oh, I hope not. I'd love to see a little bit of passion, a bit of fire with all the drivers, but no swearing, hopefully. No, it's very exciting, especially to be back at having these LAN events again. I think it's really exciting for us and the audience to be able to, physically see these drivers, see how they kind of interact with one another. I find it really interesting, so it's exciting to see, how that will progress through the rest of the for the rest of the evening.
Well, we're seeing the drivers who will be going up against each other. Benito versus Toman first. Then we've got Siggy versus Cinčić and Rietveld versus Jajowski. Are those some tasty matchups that we're seeing?
Very tasty indeed. They're going to be matching each other blow for blow. I mean, all three in each team of these drivers are going to be up to the mark. They're going to be ready for this. Whoever they're going to face, they know they need to be on the ball. Turn one is going to be so key. La Source, a few twists and turns around there, Hayden. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, the race is getting underway, so I'm going to pass over to you, George, for the commentary.
Here we go, folks, and it is pedal to the metal here for the very first time in the semi-final of the V10 R League. And as they make their way down towards the source, Yuri Toman is going to be leading the charge here for R8G. A cutback now, incoming certainly from Team Redline, who managed to retake the advantage. It's Jeffrey Rietveld now, making his way up through towards Eau Rouge and rally on. It is Redline who have struck first blood here on the first lap of the relay race, Steph.
Down the Kemmel Straight they go. Look, you get an incredible slipstream going down this event, but it's not enough for R8G at the minute to get close enough to Team Redline. As you can see, riding on board with Jeffrey Rietveld there, you can just see the R8G car of Yuri Toman behind 0.4 of a second, getting ever so close, but just not close enough just yet.
No, not at all. 16 turns. We'll certainly beckon them at Yas Marina. 20 turns here at Spa. Opened certainly this layout back in 2007 as they now venture down through Pouon. It is Rietveld on top, Toman in second place. The first of the 4 laps that they're going to be undertaking in this relay race. Heading through the next chicane as they now manage it very, very well out of Lefanier. Oh, blimey. We're just seeing a car fly into orbit. Not quite sure what happened, but that was Yuri Toman. And I have to tell you, that looks like he's back in the pit lane. So a nice, easy job for Rietveld. Just needs to keep his composure now.
Oh, absolutely gutting for R8G. Will they be able to pull this back? Who knows exactly what went on then, but I'm sure with all the teams swapping over, with the drivers changing, we'll see, all will become much clearer. But it was quite interesting, ground effect is something that we often see in motorsport, pulling the cars closer to the track, not flying up into the atmosphere.
Absolutely, it's certainly a very, very odd moment. Obviously, drivers have to learn to adapt with these very particular situations. this is something that we do see in sim racing, but naturally the drivers now have got to try and recompose themselves. Now, this is another test, certainly for a lot of these young talents. A lot of them, like we said before, would have worked in a LAN environment, but now we're here in a local aspect. You know, this is different equipment, a different set of circumstances, new challenges. You can just see them. This is so key. Composure. You can just see, look at the eyes there of Enzo Benito as he now looks at his monitor, as well as Jeffrey Rietveld as well. They need to try and maintain a certain level of composure just so they can restart and get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and just pointing out what you were saying about, you know, LAN environments, it's just completely different to what these guys are used to. We've seen them preparing for this event by changing the rig setup. We've seen hours and hours going into it. You know, these drivers, not just esport drivers, you know, they double as mechanics. They are fantastic at, you know, changing it to their liking. So it's really, really interesting. You know, they've got to get used to this new equipment. They're not in the comfort of their own home. It's a completely different environment, and it's going to be a true test to see how they can really cope with those, with the stress.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, we saw it all the whole time. If you look, obviously we got the pictures here on our feed, folks, of Marcel Chinchik. They've been working on these rigs all weekend, certainly all race weekend, going into practice, obviously making sure the setup is absolutely right. And it just goes to show that on the side, you've got engineering in actual racing as well. You could bring that into esports very, very easily. We saw them just move in the pedals, the locations of the seat, you know, how firm you want your brake pedal as well, for all that matter. You know, you can easily slam it on, have too much pressure. They might want to ease some of that pressure just to allow a bit more progressive braking into corners. It's just so intrinsic how they work together in order to deliver the best setups.
Absolutely, and it's so interesting as well how each driver changes their own setup, and how each driver, you know, likes to have their car, likes to have their setup, you know, made. So it's quite interesting seeing how they've all kind of come together. Now we're looking at that's Marcel Chinchik on the screen there, remaining composed. I think you used that was the word you used, Enzo Benito there, and yeah, these drivers just maintaining their composure. They're very calm, cool, and collected, you know, even in the face of trouble.
Well, we're now going to take a swift break now with Hayden, who's going to give us a hot lap of Spa.
Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps and the longest circuit in the series. We're going to be taking you for a hot lap around this track today as we break down in towards turn 1 of La Source. A great overtaking opportunity at the start of the race, but also you want to make sure you get it right because it is completely flat out for the next section of the circuit. We run down the hill now in towards the famous Eau Rouge and Radillon section. Flat out all the way through here. Take as much curve as you can possibly get away with as we enter now the Kemmel Straight. Heading down in towards Le Com, you will not get a better overtaking opportunity around this circuit than right here. Braking in towards Le Com and just let the car float through the right and the left. The power that you have in this car is very easy to lose the back end through this section of corners, but we nail it through there. In towards Rivage, getting the car slowed down and then touching the apex on the inside, allow the car to extend out wide and then into the corner with no name. Again, another fast flowing corner, taking a lot of curve, a bit of the AstroTurf, but the stewards are going to let me get away with that one. Heading into Pouhon, a corner you've got to be really committed, attack the corner on the inside, allow it to float out wide and then back again for the second apex. In towards this chicane now, hard on the brakes and again attacking the inside, double apexes through the chicane, get the car on the outside, onto the Astro, and then in towards Stavolo now. And this is again another important section of the track because it is flat out all the way to the bus stop chicane, which is the end of the lap. As you're just going to let the car flow through the right, get it straightened up. Then there's the left-hand, is not really too much of a corner. The next one is a bit trickier, but you've got to be fully committed, flat out, use the curb, and then into the bus stop chicane. Another overtaking opportunity, hard on the brakes. We went a little bit too late there, but never mind, in towards the second corner, and that is a hot lap around Spa-Francorchamps.
Well, we do apologise, ladies and gents, but we are experiencing a slight delay. But just to reflect on Hayden's hot lap then, I think that was one of his better ones. He has been talking throughout the whole series about how he did a couple in one take. I'm not sure that was a one-take wonder, but it was pretty decent, wasn't it?
It was a very decent, on board there.
Not quite as quick as these guys.
No, I don't think we'll be seeing Hayden in a V10 R League team quite just yet. A little bit more practice, Hayden, then perhaps. We'll see. But yeah, no, great to see it, obviously. I mean, Spa itself, we talk about the history of this particular circuit. I mean, this start, obviously, leading down through towards the heavy braking zone at La Source, very, very testing, as I alluded to earlier. But it's that beautiful rise, the high elevation point of the circuit leading up the Kemmel Straight. That is where you get your overtaking opportunities, and that's certainly what the drivers will be looking at tonight.
Yeah, that slipstream as well up the Kemmel Straight. It's really powerful. What we saw, actually, I think it was an earlier race between Mercedes and Red Bull. We saw Liam Parnell shoot it into the sky, quite similar to what we just saw with Yuri Toman, from getting too powerful a slipstream. There was contact between the two of them. So yeah, that's how powerful it is down the Kemmel Straight. You know, you right up there, so you've got to time it just right for the braking zone into Le Combe.
You do. And like you say, incidents such as that are very, very common practice, I suppose, certainly in those situations. But no, it happens. It's the way racing goes. But, we'll very shortly, very soon be heading back into the race environment. Obviously, we'll keep you guys up to date as we go on through. But obviously, looking at the teams initially, yourself, Steph, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, I think they both had a really good start, actually. It was quite interesting. So it was quite interesting to see exactly what they were doing, but we're going to head to a break, and then shortly after we'll be able to
Hello and welcome back to the V10 R League, and thank you for bearing with us as we experience a few minor technical delays. If you are wondering what is so special about this V10 R League car, it was uniquely built for this series, and let's see exactly how it was made.
The V10 R League really deserved a top quality car, something unique, something distinctive.
He came to me with a brief outline of what they wanted. Something ballsy, aggressive, but stylish.
Something that was conceptually exciting, that was different. It's been great working with my father, who has the experience that he has.
I went to uni, studied automotive engineering, managed to snag a job at McLaren. The final car that I worked on was the car that Fittipaldi used when he won the World Championship in '74. So that was my claim to fame.
The virtual world gives us a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility that we don't see in the real world. So we were able to think a little bit more outside the box about what we would love to see and what we would love to hear.
I went to see V10s racing and the noise was amazing, but the most remarkable part, there was this subsonic air vibration that actually got you in the stomach. It was just insane. Obviously that's been lost in modern racing, so the idea was that because it's virtual anyway, what the hell, might as well have a bit of fun with it. You end up with something that sounds thrilling.
It's an incredibly fast car that the drivers will have to get to grips with. We're definitely going to see some learning on the track.
When I saw what the modelers had done to actually realise the drawings that I came up with, I was blown away.
Welcome back from that little video explaining what these cars are all about. And they are a handful to drive. We've seen my hot laps. Unfortunately, Steph, it wasn't a one-take wonder on that one. But nearly 1,000 brake horsepower in these cars. They are difficult to control, George. And of course, the drivers are going to have to really be careful on the throttle, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to have to be very careful. Very easily, very easy to lose the car if you're very heavy either on the brakes or the accelerator. But you know, these are professionals, and you'd firmly expect them to certainly manage these machines very, very well. But great to hear the V10 engine back in racing as well. That's what I like.
It's such a good sound, and you know, a new challenge that we have here today, that Steph, not only is that they've got used to these cars, of course, at home, but they're in a new environment. They've got new equipment that they're not going to be used to. They've got here, they've tried to set it up as best as they possibly can. Is this going to even the playing field?
A little bit. I mean, we alluded to this a little bit earlier as well about how all of the drivers have been tinkering and, you know, finding their ideal setup. But, you know, nothing beats racing from the comfort of your own home, in your own chair, with your own wheel, knowing it in your own environment, in your room or office or wherever you are. So the drivers have been completely taken out of their comfort zone, which I love to see because it does even the playing field a little bit. It depends how quickly you're going to be able to adapt to this new environment, how well you'll be able to deal with the challenges of, you know, live TV, of all the lights, the camera, the action. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers cope, which ones cope.
Can they cope with us putting them off, being in the same place as them? George, let's talk push to pass. They've got push to pass in these cars, 25 seconds, I believe, that they can use over the entire race. So tactics come into play with that. Is there a time that you want to use it, or do you have to just play it as it goes?
Well, I think there's some key moments. If we take Spa, for example, as a track, the Kemmel Straight is without a doubt the place where you want to unload and try and look to use it. A lot of drivers like to use it out of corners too, because it can give you that little bit of extra speed heading out of an exit. So it can give you perhaps an opportunity in an overtake without having to use all your push to pass, perhaps. But, you know, it's a big challenge. How do you use it? That is up to the drivers. 80 brake horsepower additional. Can't go wrong with that.
If you are new, of course, to the V10 R League series, you may not understand the relay race format or the actual race format. So let's show you a little video on just how both of those work.
In the relay race, all three drivers in the team must complete one lap each, with drivers swapping out of the car during pit stops. One driver per team must complete an extra lap known as the Joker lap. A Joker lap can be taken at any time during the relay race by any driver on the team. The team that completes all their laps first, including the Joker lap, is declared the winner of the relay race to take 1 point. Each team race involves all 3 drivers, in each team competing at the same time across 6 laps. Teams are awarded driver points based on the finishing positions of their drivers. The team with the highest combined driver points is the winner and picks up 1 match point.
Even when Tom Deacon's not here in person, he's here in spirit. We wish you well, of course, watching at home. Let's talk about this relay race that we're going to be getting into. What do you like about this relay race? What makes it so different to other series?
Well, it's an interesting format, and a relay race generally something you would, I suppose, see in athletics or something like that. Unleash your fellow competitor and let them try and jostle for position. But this time we're taking it to single-seater cars, which is very, very unique. Obviously, the great thing and a great aspect about this is that you can pick your strongest driver to hit your Joker lap, and that is the big, I suppose, dilemma the drivers have to face. Who utilizes that Joker lap and goes an additional lap longer than just the solitary one? So, yeah, it's a big test, and strategy probably more prevalent, should I say, than ever.
Definitely. One thing we do miss, of course, in the series is we don't get to watch a live qualifying, but I think this is a much better replacement because you get to see the guys do one-shot laps around some of the best circuits that we've seen in racing. And Steph, that's just incredible to see, isn't it?
Yeah, but do you know what makes it even better than qualifying? Is that it's a race as well. It's a one-shot lap where you're racing another driver. Hopefully, I mean, as long as the pit stops have gone well, as long as, you know, the drivers are close to each other, we can see them properly going wheel to wheel while they're at their fastest. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. It's really interesting to see, you know, leave nothing on the table. It's all out on the track, and yeah, it's very exciting.
One driver, of course, as well has to do the Joker lap, meaning they have to do 2. Now, would you prefer to do the 1 lap, or would you prefer to do the Joker? Because surely when you do the Joker lap, you get a chance to get into that rhythm a little bit more, and you're going to be quicker in that second lap.
But then surely the pressure is then you've got to try and manage the overcut or undercut or whatever you're trying to achieve at this point. Certainly when it comes to racing, you need to try and usurp. This is the whole point of the Joker lap. Try and usurp the other team, utilize it to your advantage, gain that vital time in order to put a bit of a cushion between you and your competitor. So, you know, there is obviously that comfort of getting to know the circuit, but at the same time, the pressure is going to be unbearable.
So which are you? 1 lap or Joker lap?
1 lap.
1 lap. Steph?
Oh, Joker lap. Once you get into your rhythm, you know, you've got clean air, you've got no distractions anywhere around you. I mean, I'm no esports driver, but if I were, I think it makes sense to do a Joker lap, doesn't it?
How do we know? You've already got the trophy
I
right
have,
next to
and
you
it's very
there.
nice,
So are
isn't
you holding that tightly, ready to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
that
no one's
right?
coming anywhere near this.
Steph's already won.
Yeah, Steph's already won. Of course, this is what they're all going to be fighting for. There's going to be a lot of pressure, though, on these guys. Obviously, coming to an environment, they get to see their rivals, you know, bit of gameplay coming into it, maybe giving them the eye across the studio that we've got
Don't
here.
give them any ideas.
But is that going to add more pressure, being in this environment, rather than the comfort of your own seat?
Yeah, I think, again, we spoke about this earlier as well, because it doesn't you know, get less and less important, because it is very important. And the fact that you're coming here to your first LAN event, we've seen it time and time and again, drivers coming out of the bedroom into the hot seat. It is a huge test for many of them. And, you know, where they might have been used to doing their streaming or things of that nature, they're now here in amongst the TV cameras, under the floodlights as well. It gets very hot up here as well. So, you know, again, the outside effects, you know, you can imagine probably have, you know, perhaps a little bit too much effect on the drivers from time to time. But this is what it's all about. This is what a semi-final and final is all about.
Definitely. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about the teams a bit more. You've got R8G, you've got Marcel Chinchik, you've got Han Jajovski, you've got Yuri Toman. Now they did the wild card. They've not taken that break week like Redline has. Is that going to keep them a little bit, you know, they're more into it, they're more in that rhythm, or are Redline going to have the fresher legs?
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely an advantage. I don't know if it's going to give them the advantage, but I don't know what the advantage is. But yeah, getting that extra time to battle and race, you know, they've got a little bit more experience in the race environment. But I don't think it's going to be, the advantage that they will want it to be or that they'll hope it to be. I think these teams have, very evenly matched. Tom Deacon did say that R8G were the underdogs coming into this, so who knows?
Well, we've spoken a little bit about R8G. I'm actually going to head up there and talk to Kevin Siggy. So you guys stay put, and I will see you in a little bit.
No problem.
Come up our way onto the stage and greet one of the Team Redline drivers, Kevin Siggy. Welcome, of course, to the finals of the V10 R League. You're usually known as the guy who's leading from the front of Team Redline. Is that usually the team tactics? You're leading from the front, but you've all got your roles in the team?
I think everyone's got a role in the team depending on where they qualify, because, at the end of the day, I cannot, for example, if Jeffrey goes into P4 in qualifying, he cannot really lead the race, right? But it all depends on quali, and we do the best that we can to kind of figure out what the role is, basically in the team races. So, like, if my role is to defend, I'll do that, and if my role is to lead the race, I'll do exactly that as well. So, it's based on just quali results, to be honest.
Now, of course, it's not ideal to be experiencing these technical issues. How do you as a driver stay ready in that mindset and not get either too distracted or too complacent?
I actually do get a little bit distracted because I'm not really thinking about the race ahead because, I don't know, I'm just wandering around in my head, kind of thinking about completely different things. In my opinion, I think that's a better way to do it, at least for me, because I then don't really stress about for the race, and I can really focus on it when the time comes. So it will happen, I hope, as soon as possible when the technical difficulties stop.
What goes through the mind of Kevin Siggy then? Is it where you can maybe purchase something in this Yas Mall for the goatee?
I have no clue. I think the thing that is in my mind right now is how I would sleep right now for a couple of hours because I'm actually really tired.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin Siggy. I wish you good luck in the race to come, as I think we're going to be getting back underway. Back to you, George and Steph.
Thank you very much, Hayden. Thank you ever so much for joining us back here at the commentary box. Some words there from Team Redline there, Steph. Obviously, they're still confident, happy in the seats, composed.
Yes, done a very, very good job to maintain that composure with all the difficulties. It's just one more thing to throw them off their game, but everyone seems to be coping well quite so far, should we say. Kevin Siggy, very, very calm.
Absolutely right. We're going to be looking forward to seeing how they cope with the upcoming challenges out on the track. And surely enough, we'll witness very soon as to who is going to come out on top in this very, very first event that we will be having here at Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, R8G, as I said, versus Team Redline. Very much looking forward to that, as you can now see the teams there sat there, just taking in some fluids, very vital against the warm lights coming down from the sky. And in amongst this very hot climate we have here at Abu Dhabi, which in itself is a very extreme test too.
Yeah, it is very, very warm here too. So, just heat everywhere. But we've not got Yas heat just yet. They're coming up in a match a little bit later on. So, will they bring the heat? It's yet to be determined.
Absolutely. We'll have to wait and see whether they can or not. That is, of course, going to be our other semi-final coming up very, very soon. But there you can see the face of Marcel Chinchik just looking on and getting himself composed as well. He himself has had a wonderful, certainly run in this championship, has been certainly spearheading the wins, certainly where the team's concerned. They've come across with Team Suzuki winning 3-1. Of course, a clean sweep against BMW, a shock result that was in the group stage, because, of course, BMW, former champions.
I know, they had Kevin Siggy last year, so obviously losing him has been a pretty hard one for them to deal with because they didn't manage to make it through to the semis here in Abu Dhabi. Very unfortunate for them. Still the reigning champions, though. They can say that for one more day before we crown our new champion tomorrow at the grand final.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we'll now be heading very, very shortly for a quick break, folks. But we will be back to bring you all the action from Spa-Francorchamps.
Welcome back after that short break. Here we are, we're back. We're waiting just to hear whether this race is going to get underway, so stick by us. But George, if you had to pick out of any of the 5 tracks, which one would you pick to race on?
Well, I'm a big Spa fan, so I'm delighted we're coming here first, to be honest with you. I do love the circuit. Many hellacious incidents have happened here in the past. Obviously, we had the chaos in Formula 1 back in 1998, which was something special. But since then, obviously, many other amazing moments. And obviously, with sim racing, it is no less impressive. We've seen some great races, even in the context of the V10 R League, because, of course, Mercedes themselves, we saw plenty of Spinalas in their affair in the group stages. Of course, we'll be seeing them later on as well later tonight. But no, here it's just brilliant because you've got overtaking opportunities again and technical, essences that sort of apply a little bit of extra tension on the drivers as well.
Absolutely, and obviously going to go to Yas Marina in a little bit of time.
Of course.
Would you pick that one as well, or is it one you might want to ban?
Well, I quite like it. I think the amendments they've made, have been
brilliant,
absolutely superb. I think of course we've seen it in the real world of events. I won't obviously go into that, but obviously speaking about the sim racing side of things, you've got the hairpin corner leading in towards the main straight. Opportunities for overtaking are plentiful at that point as well. Certainly with the push-to-pass system, the 80 brake horsepower is going to be necessary at those points. Then, of course, the third sector, very technical. Very prone to incidents. We've seen it before in the past. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, a lot of off-camber corners as well, which makes it very difficult for these drivers to keep control of the car. So it's great.
It is.
I love the chaos that it's going to bring.
Bring on the chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic track, isn't it? Which one is... well, obviously, Spa is your favourite of the two of them, isn't it?
No contest for me.
Okay, out of the 5, which one would you ban?
No, that's not very... that's harsh. Probably Mugello. Yeah.
Not your favourite?
No, maybe not. No.
Well, we'll wait and see if any of the drivers
are
going to go to Mugello. Perhaps the Mercedes versus Yas Heat in a little bit, which is going to be a very exciting battle between the two of them. Very closely matched. Yas obviously coming out at the top of their group, and Mercedes are coming through in the wild card against Williams Esports. Very exciting match between the two of them. But how do you think that match is going to go down a little bit later?
I think it's going to be very close. I mean, Yas Heat have come into the grand final, in really strong form, and they've got some superb leaders like Sir James Baldwin, for example, who is going to be stepping into real world racing as well. He's going to be in the Spa 24 Hours next week, so we wish him, of course, the very best of luck.
And he's going to be after a bold win.
A bold win, yes, absolutely.
The puns are coming tonight.
They are. I tell you what, you're on fire, Steph. You're absolutely on fire. But yeah, we're going to be heading to the track now. As you can see, live pictures here from Spa-Francorchamps, second light, third light, fourth light, fifth light, and the sixth light, folks. And it is pedal to the metal, and it is go. And once again, it looks like R8G are cutting down into the inside. Yuri Toman goes off wide, though, opens the door for Team Redline as they make their way through, leading up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. It is Enzo Benito, the Italian mastermind, makes his way up through that first few corners in front and clear by 1.6 seconds, Steph.
Oh, absolutely gutting there for Yuri Toman. Leading into the first corner, but just went a little bit too deep, not able to close up the gap going down the Kemmel straight. And he goes straight on at Lecombe as well. It's very difficult. This car looking a little bit on edge there, and Yuri's struggling to get it under control a little bit. The gap to Enzo Benito ahead of him, 2.2 seconds, 2.3 seconds, and extending further and further.
Yeah, a little shake of the head there from Yuri Toman. He's certainly not happy with the way this has started, but nevertheless, we're only on lap 1 of 4. Benito leads 2.5 seconds approximately the gap as they now make their way down through towards the Lefanier chicane. And this point as well, very easy to throw the car off. Certainly as you head into the outset of Lefanier, you rub over the AstroTurf and you can very easily slip. But these guys certainly managing it very well indeed. Heading through Campus and Stavolo, and they'll then make the almighty charge around the next right at Paul Frere before then venturing down towards Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane. The highest intense braking point on the track, very heavy braking at this particular point. And then of course you've got the entry to the pit lane where you'll see a lot of these drivers utilising that in order to execute their driver changes. In comes Enzo Benito. He's not staying out. And also I'd imagine that Yuri Toman, whether you want to gamble at this point, no, he's coming into the pit lane. Does make you wonder. An option might have been to stay out and use the joke lap at that point.
Absolutely, but if he's not feeling confident with the car, it is a very smart opportunity for the teams to bring him in and get someone in who's going to feel a little bit more confident. 2.7 seconds, I think, what the gap was as they both entered the pit lane. 70-second time limit for these drivers to switch places and get ready to take on the next lap. So it feels like an absolute eternity for us, for the drivers, as they're just waiting to get out of the pits. And we're going to see a little bit of a driver swap. Neither team has taken the Joker lap yet, and we're going to be heading on to lap 2 of the race. So anything can happen from here.
It certainly can, and the pit exit just as important as the pit entry. There you can see Kevin Siggy, who we're currently watching on our screens, as we now see the cars start to reposition themselves. They have the opportunities to do this. Marcel Cinczyk we're riding on board with, and there you see Siggy just ahead of him too, just getting ready to get out of the pit lane. Look at the intensity on Kevin Siggy's face as he now looks to position himself in the correct manner. Both cars together, as very soon he'll venture out. Kevin Siggy out of the pit lane first, as Steph quite rightly alluded to earlier on. 2.7 is where the gap sat before they came into the pit lane. Now Kevin Siggy will have 2.7 at least of relief heading out of the pit lane onto his initial stint. Cinczyk now out onto the circuit too, so he's got a mighty job on his hands now. And if you look at the time gap, as we're looking at it, 7.6 seconds in the driver change there.
There must have been some sort of issue in the pit lane there, some sort of issue with the changeover, because that gap has really opened up, and it's left everything for Team R8G to do to catch up to Kevin Siggy. We know he's a very quick man. He's got the most pole positions for that team at the minute, so he can hook a lap up on. He can hook one lap up. So he's going to be very quick. Well, whether he'll take the Joker lap is yet to be determined, but as you can see, that gap opening up a little bit to 8 tenths of a second, 8.2 tenths of a second, as we're watching Marcel Cinczyk try and close up the gap, but not to his success yet.
Yeah, very difficult circumstances here for R8G, but they've got to do absolutely everything they can. Of course, this will be one of the more interesting stints, I think, because, of course, this is where we'd likely see, we tend to see the Joker lap applied in the middle stint. So it's certainly an opportunity for the likes of Cinczyk to perhaps stay out and usurp that of Kevin Siggy. But I'd imagine that Siggy, like Cinczyk, will perhaps also be looking to use his Joker lap too, as you now see Cinczyk making his way down through towards Sector 3. Of course, Kevin Siggy, as I alluded to before, 6 times a race winner in the V10 R League in the team race event. And in terms of the team race pole positions, he's secured 6 as well. So he's a man that's in very fine fettle. You, of course, alluded to that yourself, Steph, earlier on. And the fastest lap as well for his trouble so far, Kevin Siggy, of course. Don't read into that too much, folks, because, of course, they've got to exit the pit lane first. But I'm sure it still means quite a bit to him, as we now see Marcel Cinczyk go purple, heading through now the first corner at La Source. He'll power out. This is the Joker lap for Cinczyk. And as well as Kevin Siggy, who has taken his, he's managed to advance his gap now 8.1 seconds.
Absolutely, and we talked about how quick Kevin Siggy is, but we also need to talk about how quick Marcel Cinczyk is, because he's secured 4 pole positions over the course of this season thus far as well. So he can really hook up one lap as well. And it's great, once you get into this Joker lap, you can get into a rhythm. We can see, unfortunately, the gap is not coming down. Oh, a little squiggle from him there. Oh, that was from Kevin Siggy, actually. So not as comfortable as he's looked previously. Maybe pressure getting to him a little bit, but he's got clear air behind him. He's looking in his mirrors, and there'll be no one behind him, because Cinczyk there 8.7 seconds back.
Yeah, Kevin Siggy showing why exactly he was part of that BMW fold that took the championship last year. We know a little bit about Siggy. He is absolutely superb. Of course, he's driven in many different competitions. Has even taken a hand to real-life motorsport as well. Was part of the BMW fold back in 2019, and he has ambitions to be part of the DTM Trophy in 2023 as well. So stay tuned for Kevin Siggy on that one as well. As I alluded to, multiple champion, and has done it all certainly for many years, and is now making his way down through towards the bus stop chicane. He will venture into the pit lane now shortly. Jeffrey Rietveld would of course be the next man to take the seat. And there, of course, is Marcel Cinczyk, who'll be looking to hand the car over as well. Still the gap, 8.8 heading into the pit lane. And Cinczyk now venturing inwards. Here comes the final change of the relay race.
Absolutely, and you know, we saw that gap over 8 seconds, should I say, Marcel Cinczyk of the R8G team to the Redline team, led by Kevin Siggy, coming into the pit lane. There will be a final driver change And obviously we've seen, in matchups, we've seen more problems in the pit lane. We've seen, penalties for exiting too soon. 3-second penalty if you don't abide by the 70-second limit in the pit lane. So it'd be very, very interesting to see how on it these teams will be. Going a little bit too early, it could cost you. But similarly, going too late will cost you as well. Yeah,
it certainly can do. And in that context, time is everything, especially in the relay events. We've seen it here with now the gap springing out to 8, nearly 9 seconds. So it's going to be a big job now for Erhan Jajovski, but he is certainly a man that can be part of this, I suppose, the regrowth here now of R8G in this particular race. Of course, the Macedonian joining his fellow teammates, Yuri Toman and Marcel Chinchik, was a World's Fastest Gamer finalist and a BMW Sim Live winner as well back in 2020-2021 season. And of course, Jeffrey Rietveld now out onto the track. He himself, a tenacious character. Le Mans Virtual Series 2021-22 champion. Alongside that with Kevin Siggy and of course Enzo Benito, all of them virtual Le Mans winners, which in itself is an incredible achievement, certainly given the fact that that's an endurance event. So you get the feeling that maybe they'd be able to cope well under the lights.
Absolutely, and quite a few of these drivers, having a little chat with them as well, are going to be going to Virtual Le Mans this year as well. So, we could see some more names among there, and we can see that Erhan Jajovski has actually closed the gap up a little bit, 7.4 tenths of a second as we watch Jeffrey Rietveld there going around the circuit. No pressure on him. He's, his rival 7 seconds back, closing in, but still got to put a clean lap in to make sure there are no mistakes, and he can't throw this away for the team.
No, absolutely right. Rietveld has got to keep his composure despite the fact that there is a gap. But Jajovski, you can see him just reining that gap in now. It's gone below 6.5 seconds. So, we don't want to say never is, well, certainly never is never. You've got to see now Rietveld coming through this next right-hander now. And he needs to try and just keep his composure. It's dipping into 6 now. Jajovski trying to garner back any bit of time, which way ever he can, as now Rietveld heading through Blanchimont for the final time. Certainly here in the relay context of things, down towards bus stop chicane, needs to execute here. He takes it calmly, very composed as well, round the final corner. Here comes Rietveld, Jeffrey Rietveld, Redline score, the first win here tonight in the relay race here at Spa-Francorchamps. What a wonderful performance there, Steph.
Absolutely fantastic. Very, very dominant, and just that slight mistake that we saw early on from Yuri Toman, I think that's really what cost the team. We could have seen a great wheel-to-wheel battle, but unfortunately not. But fantastic start from Team Redline, exactly how they would have wanted this semi-final to go.
Yeah, absolutely right. A marvellous performance indeed. Enzo Benito, Jeffrey Rietveld and Kevin Siggy all looking on, having a brief chat, a slight debrief here at this point before they'll then have yet another race to tackle. Of course, the next one being the team race, so they can't get too comfortable yet.
No, and as you can see here, we're going to watch the start going into La Source. And Yuri Toman had a fantastic start, wheel to wheel, proper getting in, but just went too deep into La Source, went wide, and that lost him around about 1.5 seconds. And that's really where the time got lost. But also in that first changeover, Enzo Benito obviously changing to Kevin Siggy and Yuri Toman to Chinchik. Yeah, there was a bit of an issue in the pit lane there.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a marvellous race, but we're going to throw you over now to Hayden Gullis.
There we go then. The first point provisionally goes to Team Redline after victory in the relay race. We will be back with the team race after this quick break. Welcome back to the V10 R League. We have just watched Team Redline take on R8G in the first relay race of the day. And confirming the race result, it is Team Redline who take victory in that race, making it 1-0 to them up against R8G. But there are still 3 races left to go for R8G to maybe pull it back. It looked like, off the start, R8G were going to take it. They got a head down towards turn 1, but it just kind of fell away from there, George, didn't it?
Just goes to show again what we spoke about, La Source being a very key corner, and R8G, unfortunately, Yuri Toman being thrown out wide at the very start, put him on the back foot. Enzo Benito was able to capitalize from the get-go, managed to spring a lead to approximately 2.7 seconds. So, heading into the stop phase, it placed R8G dramatically onto the back foot, and it was really up to them to try and rein it back in. Unfortunately, we saw it go out to 8 seconds, which again was almost insult to injury at that point, but they did try and fight back towards the end.
Do you think that because the technical issues were affecting Toman specifically, and he was going to be the driver who was more stressed about getting his PC ready, and same with the R8G guys, because of course the Redline could just chill. Do you reckon that's what unsettled him in that start and caused him to, of course, lose those 3 seconds so early on?
Do you know what? It's absolutely possible. I think, the drivers, whatever the situation, are going to do anything they can to lead into turn 1. And that's exactly what Yuri did. I don't think he did anything wrong by going for the move. It just didn't get executed the way he would have liked it to have gone. And then, the problems in the pit lane for that team, insult to injury, really.
A mistake as well in the pit lane, like you said, Chin Chick just maybe getting out a little bit too slowly. It went from 3 seconds up to 7.7. And then by then, it is really a mammoth task to get back into it, isn't it, George?
Yeah, it is absolutely right. And, especially when you consider the pace that Redline have got in their arsenal, they don't sleep. These guys are on it 24/7, 7 days a week. And, Kevin Siggy himself, relentless. Enzo Benito, relentless. Jeffrey Rietveld, who brought it home. He knew he didn't have to do too much. He had to just coast the car, bring it back. He was just comfortable at that point.
Yeah, because it looked almost a little bit like Jajowski was bringing it back into it. You're saying that maybe it was just Redline just taking it a bit easy. But would that give R8G a little bit of hope that, we've lost this first one, but we can go into the next one, and specifically as this was the track that Redline chose as well, that they can go into the next one and bring it back?
Look, if it is the case that, Redline were, just easing off a little bit, then I think that's a brilliant opportunity for R8G to capitalise. There's no room to be easing up. There's no room to chill out in this. You've got to keep putting the pressure on yourself. You've got to keep it at the high standards. So it's going to be a very interesting race. Hopefully R8G are not too disappointed, too disheartened by that result. I'm sure there's much more that they're going to bring to the team race, and, we're going to have a great battle.
Well, you set it up perfectly. The team race is going to be up very soon, and that's going to be what we're getting into later on in the show, where these two teams are going to be going head-to-head. Not just one driver from each team going out on track. We've got all 6 out on track. And as you can see, Team Redline, no real celebrations from them after they won. Just cool, collected, and look, straight into the next one.
Yeah, no time to celebrate.
And as we're watching on screen right now, Enzo Benito just doing a little bit of practice. So this is what we're talking about, where those guys are calm and collected. It's no time to celebrate. You've just got to get straight into what is going to be happening next. And George, you want to take us through a hot lap now of Enzo Benito around Spa?
I certainly can. Enzo Benito now on the Kemmel Straight, and as we saw earlier on, where the drivers were tackling it in the relay, now taking into La Source into the next semi-chicane. He's now got Mel Medi coming up next. This next right-hander, of course, some of you may know that particular one is turn 7, turn 8 for Brachel's corner as well. As he'll hug to the inside. There's 2 ways you can take that. You can go wider as well and have a better exit speed, but some choose to carry the corner. Heading out of the Jackie X corner now, formerly corner with no name. Heading in towards Puon, this next left-hander. Now this one is Oversteer City. Should you get it wrong, you need to be very, very careful, certainly when you're applying the brakes and the throttle pedal as well. Heading into the next chicane here at Les Farniers. Again, now I mentioned this on the broadcast, this particular corner, the tail can get away from you, but certainly Enzo Benito not having such trouble. Heading through campus, and next up is Stavolo. This will then lead him through towards Corbeil Paul Frere. Now this is one of the high-speed sections of the circuit, leading in towards Blanchimont. He'll have this very fast-paced left-hander, as we're now seeing Benito slow down. Not sure whether he's doing that on purpose just for me. Thank you, Enzo. But there you go.
There's his practice done. He showed off for the cameras now. Not too much different between my lap, really, was it? There was very similar, right?
I think there was a bit more speed from Enzo, but maybe next year you can get picked up by a V10 R League team. Maybe next year we won't see you behind the desk here. We'll see you in the rigs.
Probably best if I stick to this.
I think the main similarity was the end of that.
What, that it was slow at the end?
Looks very similar.
Thank you very much for that.
No
But it's
problem.
good to see, of course, those guys out practicing and getting into that rhythm before the race. It looks like the R8G boys are now back into their seats and getting things hopefully set up soon, that we'll be getting into this team race. Now, what excites you most? You've seen both teams out in the relay race, Steph. What are we going to be seeing now as we get into the team race?
Look, historically, we've seen, quite a lot of contact within the team race as well. It depends where you qualify, but if a team qualifies all at the front and the other team happens to qualify all at the back, it tends to kind of stay that way. Whoever gets the clean line into turn one is, likely going to finish at the front of the race. So it's all to play for, really, and we're going to have to see what qualifying looked like.
Obviously, qualifying is important, but Spa presents a lot of opportunities to overtake. So is that going to help if you maybe have a bad day in the qualifying, you make a mistake or you get invalidated on your lap time? Is Spa the track where you can come back and fight?
It definitely is. I think if you look at the track itself, very, very wide. We can have plenty of three-wide opportunities. It's not necessarily a major disadvantage to be starting behind another car because you've got the slipstream effect heading up the Kemmel Straight, for example. Not to mention Blanchimont can provide you with many opportunities too, heading down towards bus stop. Heavy braking zone, go late on the brakes, down the inside, easy as you like. But yeah, no, honestly, you look at some of these talents we've got here, never say die attitudes. Qualifying is not the end of the world. They'll bring it in the race.
They certainly will. You mentioned it, contact. We see it a lot in the V10 R League. We're not going to Monza because usually that's the track that throws it up a lot. But are we going to see a few little wheel bangs into turn one of La Source or maybe into Le Com as well after they go down that long straight?
Absolutely, and Spa has quite a lot of runoff areas. We've got some sausage curves around the Com as well to slow these drivers down if they're going too fast. If they try and cut the corner, we don't like corner cutting over here. We're not friends with corner cutting. But yeah, definitely probably could see some contact. I mean, these are all top drivers, very elite, so nobody wants to have contact. But, we've got all of these drivers trying to go into such a small piece of track, especially going into turn one, the source. So it's going to be very, very interesting. We don't want to see contact, but I predict that we might.
Well, you said as well that we don't like corner cutting, but Yuri Toman, I've got on my notes, on his lap in the team relay, he made up some lines of his own, didn't he, George?
Yeah, no, I thought it was inspired. No, it's you can't. Obviously stewards are here to police those situations, but it just goes to show. I think it was a composure issue. I think maybe just getting into the seat. Like you say, it's all well and good doing it at home, but when you're under the lights, the pressure is there. Come on, and especially when we're live here, broadcasting worldwide, it's certainly a lot of pressure to a lot of these guys who perhaps aren't used to this type of situation.
Let's talk Team Redline, Steph. We talked quite a bit about R8G before that race. Now let's talk about Team Redline. Now, they seem to have a system in these team relay races, or these team races. We have Kevin Siggy lead the front, then Enzo Benito in the middle, and Jeffrey Wrightveld, who I feel like has always got the important job of defending from the rest of the drivers. Are we going to see something similar, or because it's racing, anything can happen?
I mean, absolutely anything can happen. That should be the motto for V10 R League because it's been happening all season. But you just spoke to Kevin Siggy and he mentioned it depends on the qualifying. So who knows? Jeffrey could have pulled it out of the bag, qualified P1, and Kevin could be P4, maybe having to do the defending. But historical trends, it looks like Kevin Siggy is going to qualify, to the front of the grid. How many poles? Six poles he's had throughout this season so far. So this man is quick. He's going to be at the front of the grid. Leading the way for Team Redline.
So he's used to being at the front, of course, used to converting those into wins as well, George. Now, it's going to be important for R8G to try and topple Kevin Siggy. Which of the drivers do you think can do that? Because, of course, if you get the race win, all you need is one of your teammates in P4. So you have to win the race for a chance to take home the points.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think if you're R8G, I think you're going to be placing a lot of stock in the likes of Marcel Chinchek. I think, of course, he's one of the solid performers. You can see him on your screens there, folks. Obviously, he's been a top performer, has racked up many wins across the team race environments we have here. We've got all the lights now being lit up now, folks, as we head into the team race. All 6 lights. And it is pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go for the very first team race of tonight. And as you can see, Team Redline bossing it from the front already. Kevin Siggy in second place, though, not following up that pole position whatsoever as things stand. It's Enzo Benito who is going to lead them through. Rierveld has moved into third place. It's a Redline 1, 2, and 3 as they head up now through the Rouge and Radion, which has led to a spin. And Erhan Jajovski has now rooted himself to the back of the field. A very violent spin heading up through towards certainly the Kemmel Straight.
Very, very disappointing for Jajovski there. Having a brilliant battle with Jeffrey Rietveld just going into turn 1 and following that, but absolutely perfect start from Team Redline. P1, P2, P3, as we're going to see a little bit of a replay on what happened there with Erhan Jajovski, and there you go, you can see there's just a little bit of contact, and then he just spins it on the Kemmel Straight there. So very, very disappointing. Back of the grid, he is now 15 seconds behind the rest of the field, but it's very, very close between the rest of them, you know. We could see well, do you think we would see the Redline drivers just hold in position where they are?
Well, we could well do. They're currently sat in first, second and third. This is a perfect situation for Redline as things stand. Obviously no pit stops applied in this event, folks. Of course, it's all going to be settled out on track, but do not count out Yuri Toman. He's currently sat with just over half a second separating him and Jeffrey Rietveld now as they make their way down through towards the bus stop chicane for the very first time in this team event. Benito out in front, Kevin Siggy right in behind him too. That gap is currently sitting at 6/10 with now Yuri Toman, who's currently got Marcel Cinchik, his teammate, in behind as well. Just over 6/10 of a second between that pairing as they venture through La Source. Of course, Erhan Jajovski has got to try and regather himself as he makes his way down through. You can just see him in the back of picture there as we're now watching the cars make their way up through Eau Rouge and Radion yet again, this time on lap 2 of 6. Benito still holding on to his advantage by a near 6.5 tenths of a second. Further back, Rierveld in third. Toman still sat in fourth. It's very nearly, it just has dropped out to 1.1 seconds. Toman dropping back from Jeffrey Rietveld.
Oh, really disappointing for Toman, but he's going to remain vigilant on the back of Jeffrey Rietveld there. Hayden mentioned it, that Rietveld has historically been the fantastic defender for Team Redline, and it looks like he's taking up that position fairly well, as we can see that there you go, Toman bringing down the gap to 6/10 of a second. So there must have been a slight issue there for Jeffrey Rietveld, because his gap between himself and Kevin Siggy ahead has extended 1.1 seconds. So don't count out Yuri Toman just yet. He will be relentlessly pushing on the back of Jeffrey Rietveld, and he's going to have to defend for his life.
You do have to wonder whether Toman and Cinchik might have had a word and sort of said, look, let's swap places. Maybe I will go and attack Rietveld, maybe open up the door for us here at this point. At the end of the day, they've got to try anything and everything in order to try and move themselves up the order. They've only got essentially 2 cars at the disposal up at the top end right now, of course. Unfortunately for Jajovski, he is now, well, he's within 15 seconds now. It's 14.5 as things stand. Late breaks now for Cinchik, gets closer and closer to his teammates, rear wing Yuri Toman. He's now head back onto the home straight, going past the pit lane on the right-hand side. Of course, here at Spa in the Ardennes Forest, very picturesque this place is, to say the least. The slope leading up Eau Rouge and Radion, and of course Kemmel Straight. It's steeper than what you may think, though it does look steep even on our broadcast cameras. It's very, very steep in person as well, as we're now watching Marcel Cinchik rise up through this very attractive part of this Spa circuit. And he'll now make his way up the straight. Usually we would see the push to pass utilised at this point, and we've just seen now Cinchik move closer and closer to the back of Toman. You could argue as well that could show how effective the slipstreaming side of these cars really is.
Absolutely. I mean, we've mentioned it countless times already on the broadcast about how effective it's. Do you know, it's one of the quickest ways you can close up to a driver's on of all of these tracks. So it's a fantastic overtaking opportunity. And as you can see, Cinchik was closing in there. The gap has extended a little bit further. Toman again closing in a little bit on Jeffrey Rietveld, but it's going to be, I mean, Team R8G have everything to work for right now. I mean, currently sitting in P4 and 5. It's going to take a miracle for Yuri Toman and Marcel Cinchik to move forward. We need one of them to win if they have any chance of taking home that match point.
Yeah, absolutely right. They need this oh so badly. And the gap between Toman and Rietveld currently sat now within 0.8 of a second. He's still there. He hasn't gone out of the second gap. Rietveld, in fact, has gone out of the 1.5 second gap of Kevin Siggy. Kevin Siggy, in turn, also 1.5 seconds back from Enzo Benito, who has gone clear. So you get the feeling that maybe this is some tactics being put into place here by Team Redline, sort of increasing the gap between the leader, Enzo Benito, and that of Yuri Toman in order to execute and perhaps secure this P1, 2, and 3 here at Spa-Francorchamps, because it's looking good for them right now. We're only on lap 4 of 6. 2 laps will remain after this particular one, so everything's still out on the table as we get the live feed pictures from the drivers in the rigs, and certainly all of them looking very, very pensive. And you can see certainly the likes of R8G, they have not let it get to them just yet. They are working hard still in behind that of Redline now, climbing up the Camel Straight. It is still Benito on top, untouched, 1.5 seconds advantage ahead of his teammate Kevin Siggy.
There you go. We could just see Chinchik as well going into Le Combe, how much he closed up. It's very, very frequent. We've seen this on the last couple of laps that Chinchik is closing into Yuri Toman at that area of the track following the Camel Straight. Again, such a powerful slipstreaming tool, but those two R8G cars are extremely close to each other, but they shouldn't be battling each other. You know, we need to move forward, or they need to move forward, should I say. Keep pushing on the Redline drivers. Anything can happen. You know, these guys are professionals. They are, you know, perfectionists, but anything can go wrong from them, and R8G need to be able to capitalise that. As you can see, a little squirrely moment from Yuri Toman ahead of Marcel Chinchik, where we are riding right now. Very fast-flowing circuit, but not enough for R8G to close in on Redline just yet. No,
they're still trying to find a little chink in the armour as things stand. Yeah, I'm going to take that one. That's mine. Chinchik currently sat in 5th place and trying to marshal an advantage over his teammate Yuri Toman. I do wonder when the team orders are going to be applied, because he is getting very close to his teammate Toman. You do wonder whether they're going to make a swap perhaps as they now venture down through towards La Source. And still in behind as Enzo Benito sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:42.724. Great run indeed. A nice venture out there from Chinchik. Got very close to the rear of Yuri Toman. A very heart-in-mouth moment indeed. Should he have not applied the brakes when he did, it got very, very close. Has now come up through Eau Rouge and Radion. And here we go. Overtake here between the two R8G team. Moving to the right-hand side, Marcel Chinchik, as he moves into 4th position here on track. And he'll now look to chase on Jeffrey Rietveld. He's got quite a gap to plug. It's 1.3 seconds.
Well, there you go. Yuri Toman there just gave Marcel Chinchik a little Toman, and he managed to get past. It's pun central here. But yeah, it's going to be all to do for Marcel Chinchik, who's going to be trying to close in that gap to Jeffrey Rietveld. He's done a great job of maintaining that gap and extending it. But Chinchik, as you can see, closing in there. It could be that he saved a little bit of push to pass, you know, to be able to attack Jeffrey Rietveld ahead of him. As you can see, we're riding on board with the Team Redline driver now in P3, and you can see from the rear wing that Marcel Chinchik is closing in 0.5 of a second, so it's going to be all to play for on this final lap. Oh, we're on the penultimate lap, but the final lap will be coming pretty soon.
It certainly will be. You can see there from the rear wing of Jeffrey Rieveld's car, Chinchik is getting closer. 1.5 of a second. Well, certainly where it stood before. It's now just gone across to 0.7. But still, nonetheless, we've seen how brave that Chinchik is on the brakes, certainly heading into this point at bus stop, as they now come out of the corner now to now be on the final lap. And it's Benito who is going to take them out. Kevin Siggy has stolen the fastest lap of the race with a 1:42.414. So a great showing indeed from him as he now makes his way around turn 1. And as they now make their way up through towards turn 2 and 3 at Eau Rouge and Radion. Benito in front, Siggy in second, Rietveld in 3rd place with Chinchik right in behind. That gap has now sprung out to a second, so Chinchik needs to try and apply himself at some other points of the circuit. I get the feeling that Rietveld may have opened up that push to pass here at this particular point on track. We have seen it on the Camel Straight numerous times. Chinchik will have to apply a little bit of extra punch, certainly somewhere else out on track. In terms of the overall race win, this could be a challenge, but P3 could still be yet on the table.
Absolutely, and obviously provisionally as it stands, it's going to be Team Redline taking this win. Oh, as we see a little squirrely moment there from Marcel Chinchik. Very unfortunate from him, lost a little bit of time there to Jeffrey Rietveld. And goes wide as well, so it's not the cleanest of laps from Marcel Chinchik. Maybe the pressure getting to him a little bit, but on this final lap, it's looking like it's going to be a Team Redline win. They're going to take the match point and take 20 points home.
Yeah, big points as well. Points mean prizes, certainly here at the V10 R League. And that's exactly what these teams are striving for here at this point. But Marcel Cincic won't be able to stop this man. Enzo Benito rounding Blanchimont now for the final time. Down through towards the bus stop chicane. It's Italian fever here at Spa-Francorchamps because Enzo Benito making his way through the final corner through turn 20 as he now crosses the line to win at Spa-Francorchamps and the first team race of tonight as well. Team Redline in ecstasy. What a visit, what a race. Stephanie Wentworth.
Absolutely. Oh, I got full named there. Absolutely fantastic dominant spell from Team Redline. Enzo Benito taking home his second win of the season. Fantastic drive, cool, calm, collected. Under the lights, he did not buckle under the pressure.
Not at all. And you just see what it means to them. Smiles on the faces there of Kevin Siggy, as well as Enzo Benito, no doubt. What a performance, certainly to say the least, and they will be delighted. Obviously, Jeffrey Rietveld, you can see in picture. You, of course, a little smile there, as well as we now throw it across to Hayden Gullis.
Thank you very much, George Morgan and Steph Wentworth. Great commentary duo. It was a 1-2-3 for Team Redline as they come across the line. It looked like maybe R8G could get into it off the start, but unfortunately that crash early on for Jajowski at Radion after a bit of contact set him really far back, and then Team Redline looked under control. Enzo Benito leading the way for the team with Kevin Siggy in second. Jeffrey Rietveld doing the job we have seen him do so well all series long, leading from the back of the Team Redline team, playing that defensive role and holding the rest of the drivers off. Cincic overtook his teammate Toman to maybe try and have a go on the Redline team, but unfortunately could not make it stick. And unfortunately R8G were unable to take the point. As it stands provisionally, Redline have the point. We're going to take a short break to go get some snacks, get a drink, and when we come back, we'll be getting into the race in Yas Marina. Welcome back to the V10 R League. We have just witnessed Team Redline take victory over R8G in both the relay and the team race. Redline got ahead off the start as they led down in towards someone. Unfortunately there for Jajowski, just a little bit of contact sent him spinning off in towards the Radeon barrier. And then from there, it just looked like Team Redline seemed so in control. A little overtake out on track though between Marcel Cinchik and Yuri Toman to maybe see if that was going to be the driver that they can get back in. And now we are, in fact, confirming the match score. And it is Team Redline 2-0 up against R8G. So they're currently leading at the moment, going into 2 races, but now we head into the track that R8G chose, which is actually just down there. Like, if I haven't mentioned it before, we're in Yas Mall, we're in Abu Dhabi, it's just down there.
Wow.
Is that going to be the track where they can get back into it, Steph?
Well, hopefully for them, because, you know, for them to be able to pick up the win from this match, they're going to have to win both of these races now. So it's all to play for them. Don't want to put too much pressure on their shoulders, but I think I just did. Hopefully they weren't listening to me. But no, they're going to be putting the pressure on themselves as well. They've picked this one, so they clearly think they're going to be strong there. Remember, we saw them out against Aston Martin last time. So, you know, they've got recent experience. So we'll have to wait and see.
We are going to have to wait and see. We'll be getting into the relay very shortly at the Yas circuit. George, are you excited for this one?
Very. And like Steph alluded to, huge opportunity now for R8G to bounce back. Obviously, it wasn't an easy trip to Spa. Hopefully, travelling from Belgium to Yas Marina, here joining us here in the virtual sense. Tell you what, could be a huge chance for them.
First class, right? Relaxed as they head over to this part of the world, right?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah, why not?
Do you think, or what do R8G need to do to get back into this?
Look, I think just put what happened behind them. You know, there were the technical issues that they had to contend with, which is obviously very unfortunate, as it looks like we're going to be getting into it. So I'm going to hand over to George as we go lights out.
Thank you, Steph. Yes, we are away for the first relay race here at Yas Marina in the semi-final, second relay race of the night. And out in front, it is Enzo Benito, of course, who led in the team race last time at Spa, but he's been closely contested by Yuri Toman, who ran a little wide there, heading out to that initial burst as they make their way in towards the hairpin bend at turn 5. And as they do venture through, it's still very much Benito out in front. You know, you can see him weaving on that straight there, leading down towards turn 6. And that is obviously to try and break that long toe that you can certainly get, that slipstream effect that we have seen that's so effective on top of the push-to-pass system with these V10 cars.
Absolutely, and that 25 seconds of push-to-pass, 80 extra horsepower for these drivers to use. Get a bit of extra power on their closing, but it doesn't look like Yuri Toman's being able to do that just yet. 9/10 of a second, just over a second actually, it's extended to, so Enzo Benito, cool, calm and collected ahead, doing everything he needs to do with Yuri Toman chasing him down.
Yep, they're heading into the third sector very, very shortly. Benito in front, currently 1.1 seconds now. He's building a little gap. We saw this earlier on at Spa. Certainly no qualms about a visit to Yas Marina here for Team Redline as things stand. Coming into this certainly the semi-final after some very, very convincing results in the initial burst of races. We're now seeing Enzo Benito and Yuri Toman head into the pit lane. They took victory against Red Bull, 3-1 win in the group stages, as well as a 3-0 win against Aston Martin, 4-0 against Fordzilla, a 2-2 draw. The only draw that they got, or even anything but a win, was against Mercedes, who of course we'll be seeing later on, that is for sure. So that'll be an interesting contest to say the least. But yeah, very consistent form for Redline. They come here very, very well stacked.
Absolutely, and just heading into the pit lane, I think the gap had gone down to about 7/10 of a second. So in that final sector, either Enzo Benito lost a little bit of time, or it was Yuri Toman that really, really gained on him. So 7/10 of a second. Hopefully we won't have any issues in the pit lane, because it would be great to see these drivers get out after the 70-second limit. Great to see them get out and have a little bit of wheel-to-wheel racing, as we can see Marcel Cinchik and Kevin Siggy both reversing back so that they can get a perfect line going out of this tunnel. And not to forget that it is a tunnel coming out of the pit lane in Yas Marina, so lots of opportunity to go wrong. I believe it was Erhan Jajowski actually that ran into the tunnel during the last round out against Aston Martin. So all the teams are going to be conscious. That's not what you want to happen, but they're prepared. They're in the car, as we can see Marcel Cinchik and Kevin Siggy going, but they're very, very close together.
Yep, nothing between them as they venture through the tunnel. Very wide there from Cinčić, though, in that tunnel section. Kevin Siggy able to take full advantage. He is now just under 8.5 tenths ahead now of Marcel Cinčić as they now head in towards the next left at turn 5. They will then, well, I'm sure get the slipstream as well. Marcel Cinčić, he'll be looking to try and take every advantage he can. Needs to try and recoup something here at this 3.281 mile circuit, 5.281 kilometers here at Yas Marina. 16 corners is what awaits the drivers as they make their way through towards the next chicane at turn 6 and 7. And coming to the end of speed trap, actually at the end of that main straight, leading into the second straight, which will then lead you around turn 8. Now this one, very much the drivers like to hug the inside and then send it out wide so they can tackle turn 9, which will then take you into the final sector, sector 3. Marcel Cinčić trying to regather the lost delta. He's still working hard. He did venture out to a second, but already he's brought it in by 0.5 tenth. And is now trying to get closer and closer to Kevin Siggy. Now, what we saw previously was Kevin Siggy and Marcel Cinčić taking the Joker lap at Spa at this point. The big question is this time, will they take it again? Here comes Siggy, he stays out, so he is not coming in. Siggy staying out for the Joker lap, as is Marcel Cinčić, so they're not diverting from their strategies.
No, and you can see just then, I think it was 0.7 of a second that Marcel had closed up. It's 0.5 of a second now, so clearly made the right decision, managing to close in on Kevin Siggy right now. Could he be using the push to pass to just get a little bit closer? It looks like he's getting ever more closer, 0.3 of a second, right on the back of Kevin Siggy there. And I'm sure he'll be all in Kevin's mirrors. Look at this, so close together, but not able to make a move stick going out of turn 5 there.
No, not at all. It was a good effort, though. Marcel Cinčić showing Siggy that he is not down and out, that's for sure. R8G have come to play as they now make their way down through towards the next left and right turn 6. Again, he has a show in the mirrors of Kevin Siggy, heading through out of the chicane, leading through towards turn 8. Now they've got another straight to take. Now the technical sector 3 is what could prove vital for Cinčić. Not forgetting, we've got one more driver change. So I tell you what, if there's one little issue that could come into play here for Redline, that would certainly not be they don't want it to happen there and then, because that will put them on the back foot. You firmly expect Jeffrey Rietveld now to take control of the car as we're now seeing Cinčić head through the final sector. Nose to tail, this is a great visit here for Marcel Cinčić. He has kept the gap inwards, the delta slimmer than a fly's eyelash. They have got every opportunity in the world to score big here.
Slimmer than a fly's eyelash, you've used that quite frequently. It's a good catchphrase as we see both drivers heading into the pit. 70 seconds is going to start now. These drivers will be changing now, changing over. We're going to see Jeffrey Rietveld jumping in for Team Redline, and we're going to see Erhan Jajovski jumping in for Team R8G. The gap so close as both of those drivers entered the pit lane. Hopefully no issues. Get out just right on time. There's a fly's eyelash of time that you need to exit the pit lane. You know, not too early, not too late.
No, not at all. Now, this is so key. And the cars now having the changeovers. Now, you would expect them to leave near enough in tandem. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled, folks. Who is the better coming off the line? Let's wait and see. As you can now see the cars now moving their way out into pit road. Very soon they'll be venturing in towards the tunnel. Now, we don't want to see any crashes here, folks. We want to see a straight race to the checkered flag. Certainly the final lap we have near enough amongst us now. Jeffrey Rietveld will be the first man to venture out, you would expect. And Jajovski will be following suit. That's what we expect to see anyway. But what happens could be another kettle of fish altogether as we now wait for the drivers to execute the throttle and head out into the tunnel. Here we go. So there you can see them all composed and they leave the pit lane. Who's better, Steph?
I mean, they left right at the same time, didn't they? You've got Jajovski that's slightly ahead of Jeffrey Rietveld. Is he been able to jump him in the pit lane? Because we're riding on board with Jajovski right now, and it looks like he's managed to get ahead of Team Redline. R8G have done it. They are in the lead, and it's now up to Erhan Jajovski to maintain that, but it's Jeffrey Rietveld coming back at him, and it's nearly contact between the two of them, but Jajovski holds him off just for now.
Yeah, we've now heading down through towards turn 6, and still Jajovski defending for his life. Here comes Rietveld, though, side by side, as they head now in towards turn 6. Turn 7 next, going wide now is Rietveld. Jajovski holding on, the stern return defender that he is as they venture now down through towards the next straight. They've got turn 8 next before they then take turn 9. This sweeping left-hander that'll lead them into sector 3. What a visit here by R8G. They've come back fighting. They saw what happened at Belgium. They did not like that. Jajovski now has come to party. 0.7 of a second is all that separates them, though. Rear Vel could still be a factor. They head through the next right. It is still R8G on top. Jajovski around the next left-hander. He's going to be celebrating here at Yas Marina. They come down now towards turn 15. 16 after this one. Roman Grosjean, no doubt, shouting back at home as Jajovski heads through towards the line here. The checkered flag waves. Jajovski is on top.
Wow, that was fantastic battle there between the two of those drivers. Brilliant defending there from Erhan Jajovski, from Jeffrey Reitveld behind him. Fantastic, but that race was definitely won during that last pit stop changeover.
Yeah, I mean, what a moment. That was so key. And Jajovski coming out on top. He came back the best way the whole team did, to be fair. Marcel Chinchik, a very vital stint. I think that was in the midway. I think they utilised the Joker lap absolutely perfectly. Matched Redline toe for toe. If that doesn't send a message.
Toe for toe, man.
Yeah, toe for toe. You're getting good at these.
I am.
Brilliant, absolutely sensational. Just look at them, and no doubt that'll give them that spark that they need. And you can just see, as we're now looking on our live feed, folks, Marcel Chinchik obviously having a couple of conversations, and we'll throw it over to Hayden for his analysis too.
Enzo Benito led off the start for Team Redline, but a great comeback from Team R8G, and Jajovski's amazing defending up against right field takes victory provisionally in the team relay between R8G and Redline. Can R8G get back into this one? Only time will tell. Siggy and Chichinski both took the Joker laps. They put in the lap time that they needed to do, but it all came down to that last lap battle. And what a battle it was. We had Jajovski up against right field, wheel to wheel down the straight. They were ducking and weaving all over the place as they came down, and it was Jajovski who took victory. Up next, we're gonna have the team race in Yas Marina. Can R8G get back into this? Come back after the break. Welcome back to the V10 R League. We have witnessed 3 races so far as we're watching a great battle between Team Redline and R8G Esports. It looked like Team Redline had the upper hand, but then we went to Yas Marina and Team R8G have pulled one back. It looked like it was going to go Team Redline's way, but on the last lap, R8G got it back, and there is confirmation of the score. 2-1, Team Redline still leading the way, but there's hope for R8G, isn't there, George?
That was a vital response in the relay race, and I think you've got to give a lot of credit to both Erhan Jajovski, I think, for the defensive effort towards the end. But I also think that Marcel Cinchic's middle stint, I think, was very, very vital too. I think he applied the Joker lap absolutely superbly. And obviously we'll take a look now at obviously the confirmed, the graphics as well. But obviously looking ahead, I mean, that just gives them that little burst of confidence that they so rightly need.
We'll be going into the team race next, and qualifying, of course, is very important, Steph. So we're taking a look at the qualifying now. Enzo Benito and Wrightville looking out of front row for Redline. Siggy, not the best of qualifying for him. He's down in 5th. Could this be a chance for R8G to get back into this, Steph?
Absolutely. P3, P4 definitely got to attack Team Redline ahead of them, but they're going to have those 2 drivers, P1 and P2. Hopefully we won't have any contact, but with the grid being mixed up as the way it is, it wouldn't be impossible to rule it out.
It's still going to need a great start, though, from the R8G team if they want to take victory, because they need to make sure they are in 1st position. Otherwise, the best they can do is a draw. So it's going to have to be a really vital start for Jajovski to get straight back in there and split those 2 front row Redline drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be the absolute imperative, job that they have, I think. I think they'll have a little bit of confidence knowing that they've isolated Kevin Siggy a little bit from his teammates. I think that's obviously going to be something too. I sort of wonder whether his Redline teammates are going to perhaps do him a few favours as well, perhaps bring him into the race, try and get a Redline 1, 2 and 3 again like they had at Spa. That could very easily be part of the plan, at least that they're putting together. But I think it's a big, big gain for R8G. I mean, that man, what a defensive effort in the relay. They need that type of style of driving heading into the team race too. He's
going to be on cloud 9 at the moment. We saw last time in the wildcard up against Aston Martin where there was a mistake in the pit lane, and it was Jajovski, and since then, he's a new man. He's been absolutely smashing it.
Flying high. Do you know what? Come to Abu Dhabi, smash Abu Dhabi. So he's clearly turned over a new leaf, and it's brilliant to see. I'm so glad that we've got R8G back in the fight. It's going to make this team race all the more intense.
What do they need to do then? Obviously go out there and fight as hard as they possibly can because they're on the back foot, but what do they need to do?
Well, at this point, they've got nothing to lose. I mean, they've got to go out and literally from the first lap, I think, attack from the word go. I mean, we've seen what they're capable of. Obviously, the likes of Marcel Cinchic, very, very fast, as well as Erhan Jajovski as well. But they've got others too, like Yuri Toman is very, very quick. I mean, the 3 of them as a team are a very, very strong, united bunch. And coming against Team Redline, they know what's on the table. They know what the challenge is heading into this event. So, I think they really did handle that last race extremely well. And it sort of gives them a huge bout of confidence heading into the team event.
And it was such a good battle between the 2 drivers, ducking and weaving down the straight, and then maybe a little look around the outside into the chicane, but couldn't quite get it done. What a battle.
It was fantastic. We love to see good, clean, hard, fair racing, and I think that's exactly what it was. Both drivers did exceptionally well. We had Rotveld, chasing, attacking as best as he could, not quite enough. But yeah, as you said, Jajovski did a fantastic job to defend, placed his car in the perfect location so that, Rotveld couldn't actually get past. So it was a brilliant, brilliant battle to see. And do you know what? I hope we see more of that in the team race to come.
Well, I think if there's a battle in the team relay, then surely we're going to have some really good on-track action in the race, George, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I said to Steph while we were off air, taking the commercial break, I'm looking forward to this team race because there's going to be fireworks, immense fireworks at this point. They're all going to be challenging. Of course, Redline know what's at stake here. They don't want it to go to a split draw at this point, obviously leaving it up to chance. They'll want to try and secure this. Different story for R8G. They've got to go out and do their absolute utmost. This is a huge, almighty challenge for them, but at the same time, they'll embrace it. Embrace the chaos here at Yas Marina.
And look at that, no time to relax. We can see on our screen here that they are just doing a little bit of practice at the moment. Enzo Benito currently on an outlap. No time to rest, no get a bit of a drink on, have a snack, straight back into it.
No
Practice,
rest
practice,
for the
practice.
wicked. Yeah, you know, audience at home, you guys get your snacks in, get your drinks, but not the drivers. You know, they've got to remain totally focused, totally in the zone. You know, making sure that they know this circuit inside out, which R8G will do. They've picked this circuit, so they must feel very confident on it. And Team Redline obviously trying to get in a little bit of the practice to try and up their confidence on this circuit as well.
Well, this is surely going to benefit R8G, clearly going into this race. However, Redline coming back and getting the front row lockout, does that just show how good maybe Redline is as a team in this series?
We saw them playing the team game at Spa. I think if you looked at the deltas and how they were stringing it along, they were very much protecting Benito's lead. I think that's certainly certainly their mind's eye at that point. They were looking to try and take control of that race. I think if they have two drivers at the front, they'll try and use, you know, perhaps a couple of drivers as a wall to sort of prevent maybe a few of them coming through. But I think the fact that Siggy is where he is, I think complicates that matter a little bit. So, you know, I'd say R8G have got a huge opportunity, a huge chance to really take advantage. I think turn five is going to be vital.
No doubting Kevin Siggy's performance at all, but on the back foot in the last race, Enzo Benito got the race win, and of course in qualifying on the back foot as well. It's good to see that Redline do have a lot of talent in their roster.
Absolutely. They're not all reliant on one driver. As I don't think any of the teams are reliant on one driver. You know, it's a team game. You can't win it on your own. You have to have a teammate backing you up in fourth place. If you finish in P1, teammate in P4 at the very least to win the match point. So you can't do it alone. It's 100% a team game, and it's great that everyone's got the talent in their pool that they can have, you know, this switching up of roles, and we can see different drivers at the front of the grid.
Well, George, you're going to be leading the comms. I'm going to hand over to you, and let's get into it.
Thank you very much, Hayden. Yes, the lights now going red. It's all 6 lights here at Yas Marina. And it is pedal to the metal for the final race here in this semi-final event between that of Redline and R8G, and Kevin Siggy, who has managed to really try and stall forward. Oh, a little bit of carnage heading around turn 1, but it's Enzo Benito in front. Erhan Jajovski back again. He's up into second place. Kevin Siggy has moved up from his position. He's gained 2 places. Now in third. Chinchik as well in fourth, with in behind Yuri Toman getting ahead of Jeffrey Rietveld as well. This is a really big effort here from R8G. We said they had to come out of the blocks. They certainly have done that. Kevin Siggy now trying to challenge on Erhan Jajovski, Rietveld and Toman coming side by side. We will have a replay as well very shortly, folks. In comes Rietveld, who now makes his way up through into the next chicane at turn 6 and 7. Can he get through? Rietveld can. Up into fourth place, Seth.
What a fantastic battle between all of them, and I don't think the battle is just done there with Chinchik and Rietveld, as Chinchik is looking up to see if he can make a move on Rietveld. As he's going to go around the outside, but is he going to be able to hang on to that position? Not quite. I think it's Rietveld that manages to stay in the lead, but Chinchik is going to come back at him, and they're going wheel to wheel, side by side, but Rietveld takes the position for now as Chinchik goes a little bit wide. So that's Rietveld up into P4, Marcel Chinchik P5, Yuri Toman P6.
Yeah, wonderful effort from Rietveld, managed to hold off the fall. Deary me, Erhan Jajovski into the wall. That is an absolutely crunching effort, and that's allowed Kevin Siggy and Rietveld into third place now as well. It's a 1-2-3 for Redline. This was not on the cards. This was not in the plan for R8G. All 3 cars still in tandem, but a little bit of struggling now this time from what I believe to be Marcel Chinchik, I think, just losing the car slightly, heading through now towards turn 5. It is still Benito on top, and he's managed to expand the gap to 1.6 from his teammate Kevin Siggy. Rietveld in third now sits just within 8.5 tenths of a second in behind that of Siggy, with Jajovski in fourth as well, who is on a recovery mission. I tell you what, he's going to be absolutely devastated. He was in prime position, second place. He is now down to fourth.
Heartbreaking for Jajovski. Had a fantastic start. I don't know what exactly happened there. We just saw him kind of going off into the wall, so it's really, really disappointing for him and for Team R8G. They're going to have it all to do now for the rest of the race. It's currently a 1-2-3 for Team Redline. Perfect start from them, and they're in the position that they need to be. Really disappointing for Team R8G.
Yeah, very disappointing indeed, especially after such a good run in the relay event. It's heartbreaking certainly to see this happen, but nevertheless that we still have a race. Lap 2 of 6. We've still got another 4 to go. Benito leads the way, Siggy in second. We just see the drivers moving aside now. That's Jajovski, and he's allowing Yuri Toman and Marcel Chinchik through. That is certainly the sight we've just seen. But making their way now through towards turn 1. It's Benito still on top, Siggy in second, but Rietveld in third. The perfect situation for Redline right now, but in behind Toman trying to garner, trying to gain. 1.6 though is what he needs to find. A huge almighty challenge. But Jajovski, knowing that perhaps the pace lies more with the likes of Toman and Chinchik, he obviously wants to... It's not really a time and a place to think of what's going on in your own race, and to think of the entire team. This is why V10 R League is oh so special. We're now making our way down through towards turn 6 and 7. The speed trap will be at the end of this particular straight. As things stand now, the gap going out to yet another 0.2 of a second. Toman has got it all to do.
Absolutely, and as you can see, 1.8 seconds. You can only see, you know, a glimpse of the Redline drivers ahead of Yuri Toman just there as the gap extends to just over 2 seconds. So they've really got it all to do. Jajovski was in a fantastic position, you know, to be taking the fight to Enzo Benito, but he's rocking cool and calm and collected up front of the grid, cool as a cucumber, and he's driving very bonito, if I do say so myself. So fantastic work from him and the rest of Team Redline. Kevin Siggy doing a fantastic job as well after that unusually low qualifying position up into P2. But as you can see, we're riding with Yuri Toman, not riding with, but we're watching him. And as you can see, the gap has come down a little bit from between him in P4 and Jeffrey Rietveld. The defender again, back in position for Team Redline. Jeffrey Rietveld, obviously fantastic job doing right now.
He is, yeah, absolutely right. He is an absolute solid performer for Team Redline, and was able to bring it home. Of course, we saw it earlier on in the team event, the relay race, sorry. And this time he's going to be providing the defensive masterclass in third place. Benito, though, the man who's leading from the front, Siggy in second place. Remember, Siggy started further down. He was in P5 at the start of this event. He's now up into second, so managed to certainly gain from the very start. Just goes to show the quality in behind a lot of these drivers, many of them going on to real-life racing. And has enjoyed driving GT4 cars as well, was part of the BMW experience back in 2019, got a chance to race those GT4 cars, and he certainly took a huge sense of pride in racing in the DTM Trophy next year. When I spoke to him yesterday, he was full of jubilance. The 2023 season is certainly locked in the eyes of Kevin Siggy, so we look forward to seeing how he performs in that event. But currently, it's a Redline story right now. Benito out on top, and he's actually worked his way clear of Kevin Siggy now, out to 2.6 seconds. Benito in very, very high comfort right now. A man who has performed very much in these LAN event situations, F1 esports for that matter, where we first saw a glimpse of Benito at the top end of professional esports, and he's here again bossing it in the V10 R League.
Yeah, and this is the top level. You know, we've got some fantastic drivers in this league as we are riding on board with Yuri Toman here. Not able to close up that gap just yet. 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds. It's hovering around this area. He's doing everything he possibly can. But Marcel Chinchik is just actually dipping further back from Yuri Toman as well. Not getting the Toman this time.
Zing.
Zing.
Very good indeed. Forever the linguist there, Stephanie Wentworth. Marvellous stuff. Yuri Toman, though, heading down through this next straight and getting closer, or trying to work his way closer. Remember, it was 2.8 before, so Toman's managed to bring it right back in. So really working hard to try and close up on Jeffrey Rietveld, which is going to be a very hard thing to do, because we all know how good Rietveld is behind the wheel of a sim rig. As we're now watching Toman head through the final sector. Lap 5 of 6, penultimate lap affair here at Yas Marina. Very, very hot at this particular circuit. We, of course, had the opportunity to see it in person yesterday. What a marvel this place really is. As we now see the cars work their way through the final corner. They'll then venture through towards turn 1. Benito out on top, still remains out in front. Cool, calm and collected as he has been from the word go. Siggy still sat in second place, though 3.5 is the gap between those two. Rietveld still in third. Toman, though, working hard. 1.8. You get the feeling again, this is a similar story to what we saw from Redline in our first team race at Spa.
Absolutely, and it looks like it's going to be a Redline victory, as you just alluded to. It's very, very unfortunate for R8G. They've given it everything they possibly can, but as it stands, Team Redline is going to be taking home this match point, and as a result, taking the win for this matchup. It's been a fantastic effort from the underdog, shall we say, of Team R8G, but it's just not been good enough for the fantastic efforts of Team Redline.
No, not at all. It certainly has been such a climactic story here at Abu Dhabi. I've got to say, we've seen so many memorable moments occur at this wonderful track. Enzo Benito himself, after a wonderful display here this evening, is once again making his way through the final sector. He'll have 2 corners left after turn 14. 15 and 16 is all that remains here at this 3.281 mile circuit. Benito around the final corner to cap a 1-2-3 for Team Redline. It is Redline dominance. It's Benito dominance. The Italian mastermind takes victory here at Abu Dhabi. Sensational. A wonderful visit here for Team Redline, and that caps off yet another dominant display. Incredible indeed. What a visit. And you can see the looks on their faces, full of jubilance. A little wry smile there from Benito. Coming off the back of that, Jeffrey Rierveld also with a little blink of a smile as well on his face too. Looking very, very pleased with himself and the team's performance. But it's a Team Redline day, that's for sure. They're going to enjoy this one, and we'll look forward to seeing how they get on as we head towards the final. Here's some of the moments that we witnessed since the start of the race. Of course, Kevin Siggy working his way up from P5 up into P2 straight from the get-go, heading around turn 1. There was a lot of carnage heading around this initial point of the race, but it was Siggy who managed to gain the most places, managed to get up 2 places in fact to hold on to 3rd. And then of course we saw this spectacular fight with Jeffrey Rierveld getting past Marcel Chinchik in towards turn 6 and 7, and there of course he managed to cement his position and then try and challenge that of the top end. Of course, it wasn't quite to be for Chinchik, couldn't quite come back, but it was this man who got to take the checkered flag. Enzo Benito with a flick of the rear, taking the victory in the final race of this semi-final at Abu Dhabi. And certainly he's going to be well and truly delighted with that performance, to say the least. But there we have it.
Thank you.
As you can see, Hayden is over there.
Thank you very much, George Morgan and Steph Wentworth. On the commentary, I am joined now by Enzo Benito. 2 race wins, and you're on your way to the final. You must be very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Super happy for the team. We did a mega job. 2 first places, but my team was always there backing me up. So, I mean, what more can you ask? It's a perfect execution. Huh?
Well, I spoke to Kevin earlier, and he suggested, we talked about, the plan that you usually have. He's leading, you're second, Rightfield's defending. Yeah. The plan changed, and of course, it's good to have a strong team where yourself or Rightfield can get in amongst the others and fight for the win, surely.
Well, I can always count on the guys, honestly. If I'm not P1, Kevin is P1. If I'm P3, Jeffrey is P1. So, I mean, this race now, it's been like as we wanted, as planned, but tomorrow in the final is going to be a little bit more tough, I think. So we will recalculate tonight and we'll give it best tomorrow.
You're going to the final, Yassi or Mercedes. Which one would you prefer, or does it not matter to you?
Well, no, not really. I think they are both on the same level, pretty much. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations on getting to the final, and well done on your 2 wins. That is it. Coming up later on today, we're going to have Yas Heat, who are going to be taking on Mercedes AMG Petronas Esports. It's going to be a really fierce battle between the 2 teams. Of course, Yas Heat topping their group, Mercedes getting through on the wild card, and it is going to be a very strong performance. You do not want to miss that one. It's going to be a great show. We're very excited. A lot of battles. Expect more of the same as what you have just seen. So do not go anywhere, or at least come back later when we'll be seeing those teams go head to head. Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to be joining this team over here, Team Redline, who have made their way to the final? Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Steph and George on the commentary. We will see you later when we come back for the grand final of the V10 R League. Hello and welcome to Yasmore for the grand finals of the V10 R League.
Pedal to the metal for the very first time in the semi-final of the V10 R League. Redline score the first win go, 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 and once again, and Erhan Jajovski rooted himself to the back of the field. Benzo Benito to win at Spa-Francorchamps. Jajovski defending for his life. Here comes Rienveld though. Jajovski is on top. Pedal to the metal for the final race.